Happy Wednesday, April 3rd, everyone. My name is Hunter here at North Central Weather Center, and in today's weather forecast, we'll be having an active period of weather over the next 1 to 2 weeks. We'll be diving into all the details that you need to know in today's weather forecast. If you are new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on the weather throughout the year across the North Central United States, and be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It helps out more than you know. Let's get into today's weather forecast on your Wednesday, April 3rd, and you can see this morning temperatures starting off into the 20s and 30s up here across the upper Midwest, into the northern plains. Areas in our southern viewing area also very chilly this morning, into the middle and upper 30s. And looking at those wind chill values, looking at the morning hours here into the middle, upper teens for those wind chills across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and back here across the northern plains. But as we go into the afternoon, here are your high temperatures back here across the Great Lakes region into the Midwest, especially for Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, into northern and central Illinois, back across Indiana there, Ohio and Michigan. Those areas will be held down into the 30s for highs today, with some snowflakes flying across your airspace over there. Back to the west, temperatures will be still chilly, but still into the 40s, 50s, and still some 60s down here into our far southwestern areas in western Kansas as we go into the afternoon. We got a big low pressure system across the Great Lakes here today. You can see that with your 500 millibar vorticity signature. This just shows you the lift that we have in the atmosphere. A lot of lift across Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes region, and that will bring us a deformation snow band this morning across Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and eastern Iowa. You can see out your window probably in Green Bay, Madison, Milwaukee, down into Rockford, Illinois, back here towards the Davenport Quad Cities, and even the Chicago area there in Cook County, Illinois. We're definitely seeing some snowflakes out your door this morning. As we go into the afternoon, snow showers, snow flurries will continue across those very same areas as a 989 millibar low pressure system starts to continue to waver around the Lake Michigan region this afternoon. And as we go into tonight, we'll lose some of the moisture, but still hanging around with those snow flurries across Wisconsin, into northern and central Illinois, back here into Indiana, western Ohio, and up here into Michigan. Looking at your snowfall here, this is your additional snowfall accumulations through your Thursday morning commute on April 4th. Notice, with the enhancement off of Lake Superior here, we're going to see some very heavy snowfall totals to come for the Marquette, Michigan area, up into the upper peninsula there, Michigan, up to around 2 feet of snow additionally could be expected, but through the Badger State of Wisconsin, into northern Illinois and northeastern Iowa, far southeastern portions there of Minnesota, and maybe even northern portions there of lower Michigan. We're going to be talking about 1 to as much as 3, maybe 4 inches of additional snowfall on the way through your Thursday morning commute, and that means that we need to take it slow out on those roadways. Now, the sun angle is higher and it is naturally warmer in early April, but we still could have those slushy roads out there. So we do have minor to some moderate travel inconveniences across Iowa here, especially northeast Iowa, southeastern Minnesota, Wisconsin, into northern and central Illinois, and then more of those major travel disruptions up near the Marquette, Michigan area there, into the upper peninsula of Michigan, near Lake Superior, where we have some lake enhancement to our snowfall. So definitely watching our friends up there. Let's look at your Friday forecast here for the 4th and 5th of April. Looking at your temperatures across the board here, chilly to the east and a little bit more mild to the west in our western areas. You can see the Dakotas down into Nebraska there and into Kansas. Temperatures will be into the 50s and 60s across our east, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the lower Midwest. These areas will be into the 30s and 40s on your Thursday afternoon, and much of the same can be expected even going into your Friday afternoon on April 5th. And let's look at your precipitation during those 2 days. So as we go into Thursday, still seeing some active weather to our east across the Great Lakes region, down into the Ohio Valley. We still could be seeing some of snow showers, some snow flurries, or some drizzle over there on Thursday. That continues into Thursday night, but the rest of us will be dry across the north central states going into Thursday night. Friday, a very dry day, and Friday night, a dry night as well, as high pressure starts to work in across our entire north central viewing area. So you can see our precipitation amounts from Thursday tomorrow on April 4th into Friday, April 5th will mainly be confined across our far eastern viewing area here across the Great Lakes, portions of the Ohio Valley, especially from Michigan, Indiana, eastern Illinois, and then over here into Ohio and portions of Kentucky. Our rest of our viewing area is going to be mainly dry as we go to round out this week. And now looking at the upcoming weekend on your Saturday, April 6th, into Sunday, April 7th time frame, temperatures again will be warming up across the south central plains into our southern areas, into especially Kansas. We could be taking a run at 80 degrees as we go into Saturday. Still chillier up here into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley, but a little bit warmer too than we do have later this week. Into Saturday, those temperatures up there will be moving up into the 40s and 50s, and same thing can be said on Sunday. I think more of the 60-degree line starts to push further north into Iowa, Nebraska, into Illinois as we go into your Sunday, April 7th time frame. We do have a new storm system we are keeping an eye on for the weekend. We have a big trough out west, and that's going to start to eject into the western plains in our western viewing area on Saturday, and then begin to eject across the rest of our viewing area as we go into Sunday, April 7th. And what this means is that we're going to start to see some showers out here across the Dakotas, into Nebraska here, and perhaps northwest Kansas, with that low pressure system down to a 989 millibars across the Nebraska Panhandle on Saturday. Going into Saturday night, we need to watch this setup here. A very nice dry line setup for a Great Plains tornadoes potentially as we go into Saturday night. And then going into Sunday, the system weakens a little bit. We could have a little stripe of a rain-snow mix-up here with enough cold air advection moving in on the northern side of this precip shield across especially North Dakota into portions of Minnesota there. Otherwise, all rain and cooler rains across Iowa, southwest Wisconsin, getting into Illinois there, the Illinois Valley, into Indiana and western Kentucky as we go into the day on Sunday. And then Sunday night, some of that precipitation will move up to the north and across our east, and will start to dry out across our south and southwest going into Sunday night. Looking at the setup, though, for severe weather on Saturday, April 6th, the Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead several days out and put in a slight risk of severe weather, a level 2 out of 5, for portions of southern Nebraska and into our southern viewing area here into central Kansas. This does include the Hastings region all the way down through Wichita, and we need to keep an eye on this as we go closer to Saturday, because the setup does look ripe for severe weather. We have some warm, moist, unstable air moving north out ahead of our dry line here. You can see all the dry air. Look at the dew points behind that, well below zero into eastern Colorado, and even into the teens above zero with our dew points in western Kansas. But central, eastern Kansas up into Nebraska there, our dew points will be into the lower and middle 50s, and that's typically what you really need for severe weather. Our instability values, your CAPE, your convective available potential energy, will not be off the charts. Really going to be kind of weak here. We're talking around maybe 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram at worst case scenario. But we do have a lot of wind energy in the atmosphere. Here's your 500 millibar mid-level jet, and you can see that's cranking here with a negatively tilted trough. Very dynamic atmosphere here across Kansas and Nebraska. And the low-level jet is going to be cranking as well, especially into Nebraska and northern Kansas there, over 40 to 50 knots. So that will help to organize any storms and also kind of pick up the lack of that instability as well, to kind of force these storms to develop as we go into Saturday. So here is the potential of what the radar could look like with your lightning flash density here. The brighter the color, the more lightning you could see Saturday afternoon and evening. Nebraska, maybe as far north even as southeastern portions of South Dakota, Dakota, but then down the dry line through central and eastern Kansas here. So again, the Hastings region, Lincoln, all the way down to the south here, Topeka, into the Wichita region. We need to keep an eye on the threat for supercell thunderstorms with all modes of severe weather. Large hail, damaging winds likely to be the main modes, but a few isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out even with the low cape out there. This will be a low cape and high shear environment. Sometimes tornado environments do thrive off of that. But looking here at the rainfall totals going through the weekend, the 6th and 7th here, Saturday and Sunday, decent beneficial rains though across the northern plains into the Midwest. These are some areas in like Iowa here that need the rain. We have a couple areas with a severe extreme drought across Iowa that are actually going to be seeing up to an inch of rain potentially over the weekend. Some of that rainfall even into southwest Wisconsin. We need the rain up there as well into northern Illinois. So that's definitely some beneficial rains going through the weekend. And there could be enough cold air aloft that we could start to see more snowfall with maybe an inch or two of snow here from central and eastern North Dakota, and getting in here to central Minnesota for Saturday and Sunday, the 6th and 7th of April as well. Now let's move into next week for your Monday, April 8th through your Friday, April 12th time frame to round out the forecast. And let's look at your temperature anomalies through next week. You can see across our north and east, it will be likely a handful of degrees above normal with our temperature anomalies. Across the west and south, we're going to be just around normal to slightly below normal with those temperature anomalies. And that means the reason why we're actually near normal or below normal across those areas, say for Kansas or Nebraska or over here in the western Dakotas, for the temperature anomalies is because we're going to have more cloud cover. We're going to be more wet with precipitation here. You can see above average precipitation across especially Kansas, Missouri, stretching over here into Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and even up into Michigan going through next week, Monday, April 8th through Friday, April 12th. And let's look at that. So as we go into Monday here, the total solar eclipse, big event across the country here, and that actually moves right through our eastern viewing area with the total solar eclipse here. Now notice, no precipitation we're expecting for the most part. So up here into the Illinois Valley, so for say southeastern and eastern Illinois, into central portions of Indiana, so around the Effingham region, up into Charleston, into the Champaign-Urbana area, into Indianapolis, Indiana, Evansville. Those areas will have more of an opportunity to see the total solar eclipse on Monday midday than, say, areas back into Missouri or over here into Ohio. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we do get closer. This is the probability of over 50% coverage of cloud cover, so at least a partly cloudy sky here on this map. These are the probabilities. And then looking at Tuesday, another major storm system across the southern U.S. will move more moisture up to the north across the United States and the north central states, bringing us more rain across our area here on Tuesday. The most precipitation, most widespread precipitation next week will be on Wednesday, April 10th, with much of the upper Midwest, the lower Midwest, the Ohio Valley here, and then back into the Central Plains, seeing some heavier rains, and then that moves east as we go into Thursday. Still a dreary day across the central and eastern areas next week, and then finally, again, just like later this Friday, we're going to dry out again next Friday on the 12th as well with another stronger high-pressure system and likely seeing some sunshine back in the picture at this point as well. But again, another time frame that we'll have to keep an eye on for flooding, but also some beneficial rains. Okay, so like looking at Iowa here, this is more 1 to 2 inches of rain. We need the rainfall, we just don't need it all at once. And you can see a lot of this eastern and central viewing area getting some beneficial rains with this setup next week. Our northwestern areas, say like northern and central Minnesota, back into the Dakotas, western and central Nebraska, will have some precipitation through next week, but likely not as much precipitation through next week. A lot more sunshine later in the week on Thursday and Friday in those areas as well. So looking at the snowfall prospects, we're not seeing a lot of cold air in place. We're getting deeper in toward the second week of April next week, so we're not going to have a lot of cold air in place, but there could be just enough if we have any precipitation across the Dakotas, back into Nebraska, maybe northwest Kansas, that we could squeeze out a few snowflakes, a few snow showers, maybe a dusting to a ½ inch of snow, worst case scenario on those grassy surfaces, but I'm really not expecting any major snowstorms across the north central states through next week. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below if you like detailed, accurate weather forecasts across the north central states. We'll keep you covered through the year. Make sure to press the like button down below. Give it a thumbs up if you like today's weather forecast. My name is Hunter with North Central Weather Center. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Wednesday out there.